then we go to dinner. He takes me to his house. We start getting freaky, and he sees that I was born a man, and you people they should not get be surprised if by
Oh,
chance
don't finish that sentence because I don't like where I was gonna go. Okay. So we'll go on to our next topic here. Topic two. Since the dawn of social media, there has been a lot of discussion on the subject of catfishing. People are always misrepresenting how they appear or who they are. But what actually counts? Does a woman wearing a weave or a wig count as dating as on a dating profile? Count as catfishing? Does a guy who always wears baseball caps to hide his baldness count? Is lying about your profession or embellishing your income catfishing too? So yeah, we've you're not unfamiliar with this. It's someone trying to hide who they are, and usually you hear stories of like, well, yeah, it's a dude and he's talking to some unbelievably beautiful girl, and he finds out it's like a middle-aged guy out in like fucking Nebraska or some shit. I'm not me. Sorry, Nebraska. But like this is like your general things, but like people have expanded this term. It's like, okay, well that's obviously um something that's problematic, right? Being like a literally completely the reality being vastly different from who you actually are, making up a brand new person. But people do little things to change their appearance to make themselves look better. That could be deal breakers. There are things that you could change about yourself for your partner that otherwise they wouldn't have accepted. So is that catfishing? So we'll go around for intro. Start with our friend Joe.
Yeah, man. I'm not there at all when it comes to catfishing. Like, it's just another like catfishing is just another form of grooming, and I wouldn't put it in the same line of like I wouldn't put like wearing a weave on the same line as catfishing. Like, there are people who have like who are uncomfortable with their appearances and present themselves in a certain way that is how they feel comfortable. But like, I think that people should be able to dress however they want to and wherever they want to in order to feel comfortable in their own bodies. I do think, however, it is unfortunate that a lot of men believe that by women wearing weaves, by women wearing makeup, it's not an honest representation of who they are. Um, when men misrepresent themselves in a lot of other ways, whether it be their height or their financial status or lack thereof, or their even like the actual intentions as to why they're entering into a relationship. Like, I think men are way more dishonest than women in in very particular ways.
Ooh, spicy.
Ira.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna be the honest one of the panel, and I'm just gonna say right now, you gotta kind of separate it, right? Because if we're talking just like hookups and one night dealios, yeah, kinda. Like if I'm swiping right and I meet this handsome man or like this 10 of a woman, and then like I find out that the pictures don't match up to reality, that's gonna put a stopper on my entire plans for the night. Whereas like if I'm looking for a relationship or some shit, like that's not fucking lying, bro. Like you gonna get to know the person and shit. Like, and it's gonna come out that like, yo, I'm insecure about my baldness, or I got like a little bit shorter hair than I like, so I'm wearing braids. That's not catfish, But if I'm looking just for a straight fuck and it's just a pump and dump or whatever, and I'm like, yo, this is the one, and then I find out like half that shit's fake, like I'm not gonna lie, I'd be upset. But like it's
Mm.
not that big a deal though. Like it really isn't. As long as it's the same fucking person in the picture. As long as the person in the picture is the person I'm meeting in real life. As long as it's not a completely different person.
Please.
we somebody wearing a cap. Yeah, I wouldn't exactly call that catfishing, but makeup is a different story. Like you get like meet a very sexy ass woman, but has a lot of makeup on, yeah, probably go have a one night stand, but once she moves out of makeup, all of a sudden she has scales and shit on her face. I would call that catfishing. But just the whole demographic about just the weaves and all that. Yeah, like I said, it's not a big deal. But if you are on like one of these Dame profiles, and you are depicting yourself as this slim thick woman, then all of a sudden you meet the chicken person, and she's a huge as a beach whale, then yeah, that's definitely catfishing. But everything other than that, no, not so much. The whole weaves and caps, not that I wouldn't call that catfishing.
Razor.
First three basically said everything I could think of. Yeah, though I was even gonna like jokingly wear one of my two wigs back here to make a point for the stream. It's like I like I like myself to make myself look a little pretty occasionally, just because I think it looks nice.
Sure.
Obviously that's not me trying to
Just lost
catfish
somebody.
anyone.
Okay, go ahead.
But yeah, obviously that's not me trying to catfish anyone. It's just me. It's just me saying like, "Hey, I feel good today, looking like this, and I want to take a cute picture and then use it for whatever dating profile I'm on." So that could be how it is for a lot of other people. But of course, there are the people who is just like Blaze said, someone who's a lot more heavy set, using pictures of like super skinny woman that's not even them, and to get someone. I've seen that before, and it's annoying. That I can say that, but yeah, no, just simple like things like caps, wigs, or something like that. No, that's not catfishing.
Waterkai.
Oh, we lost someone. Kyle's gone.
Yeah, we lost Al.
Hello?
He's
We
back.
can hear you, but
Hey.
we can't see.
Did something happen?
You're not on
camera's
the
gone.
screen.
The screen just went blank.
He's with us in spirit.
Okay, Waterkai.
Let me see.
Okay, so
Some say they can still hear us.
when it comes down to catfishing, I'm going to say it comes down to intent. And if you're intending to deceive someone purposely for some sort of gain, I'm going to say it comes down to catfishing. You're moving with intent. Whereas if you're doing things to try to make yourself look better and other things like that, that's just vanity. I really can't fault people for that. You may misrepresent yourself, embellish a little bit. That's kind of natural. But to literally portray yourself as someone you are not to a large degree is straight up catfishing.
Isle.
Yeah, I believe that pretty much the same thing. There are limits to what you can get away with doing, but wearing a cap to like cover up a bald spot here or there, wearing a weave or like fancy makeup, that's totally fine and acceptable because that's something that everybody does to make themselves feel better about themselves. They try to embellish themselves with makeup and things to make them look the ideal version of themselves, and I think that that's okay. But I think as long as you're the person that you put in your profile pic for your dating site, then I think it's all good. Now lying, I think I wouldn't put that on the same scale as catfishing, because when you say catfishing, there's a certain betrayal involved with altering perceptions of yourself so that you're radically different from who you're presenting yourself as online. So, but I think that lying about your income or your job is also really bad, and it's probably like the step below catfishing, I'd say, but not as bad. But just because you have a weave or you have a cap to cover up a bald spot, or you're wearing lots of makeup and you're a makeup like artist, I don't think that counts either.
Yeah, I think it's something. I think to misrepresent like there's a reason why you are covering that thing up.
Yeah.
You can say, well, it just makes this person feel better. Well, maybe. But like you are putting in you understand that this thing that you're covering up is uh, is something that people generally consider to be unattractive. And so what you do is like you take misleading photos, or you use some sort of way, something to obscure that, right? That you know that would otherwise be a deal breaker. Ah, it seems the it's it seems like something's going on. And you may not want to call it catfishing, but I feel like it's something that we should uh, that is some level of deception that is happening. So I'll leave it there.
I don't think that's
Well,
on the
I agree.
same level
I
as
agree.
like photoshopped pictures and like not being the same person as you are in the photo. Like if we just talk about shit like a wig or something, or like, covering up a bald, spot, or like
yeah,
some blemish on the face, like on these modern, dating site apps and whatnot, when I swipe through,
You
like,
got the filters.
right.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, but that's I was gonna bring up the filters. You bring out Photoshop, right? That's what filters are. Filters are a faster, simple way to do some serious photoshopping. So,
maybe I'm just a youngin' here, but like I can spot a filter pretty fucking fast. I'm not gonna lie.
Same.
Like the
And,
the
and to,
filters are not that good. Where it's like they could completely change. They might add a sparkle or a glitz in
not
your mind, but
every
like
no. There are plenty of um people who say like, oh, I can spot every filter. Not everyone can though, right? And some of them are more advanced than you would think. In fact, definitely, it's not even just filters, right? Because within these apps, again, if you're talking about Photoshop, like they got Facetune, and you can actively sculpt your face and your body with Facetune. It's Photoshop within your.
There are a few Snapchat filters where when I've used them, I do the quick little comparison. I'll do the quick little comparison. Turn it off, turn it on. I can actively see my jawline straighten and fully symmetricalize my face even more than it already is. So that's technically yeah.
Has anybody seen the video of the woman that has no teeth and like does makeup, puts like dentures in, like
Thank you.
changes her entire self to look like
Yes.
20 years younger?
Yeah, yeah. Well,
I
actually, she
think
is
so.
very young. She has a weird. She has like she had a
I said
disease
to
that made all her teeth.
look. I said
Yeah.
to look 20 years younger than she looks.
Was
Yeah,
that that one chick on OnlyFans, or was that someone
I,
else in
I
UK?
wouldn't. I have
I
no.
forgive
Like,
she. I don't, but yeah,
but
I
I'm
remember
saying
that video.
that
Like
would be
she's going
catfishing.
through it. But yeah, like she's going through the entire. She goes through the video, basically talking about her life and everything. Putting in like the teeth, hair, all that other stuff, making herself look amazing. She ends up coming out looking like a 10 out of 10 supermodel, and the caption on it on Twitter was, "This is pure witchcraft."
Yeah. So
Yeah, but so
go ahead.
okay. So let me just ask Al. So you said you don't see makeup as a big deal, right?
That's beyond makeup.
Yeah, it's you have to be a bit egregious with it before I'd say that's a catfish, because like everybody puts on makeup these days to make themselves like the best version of themselves. So I mean,
Okay.
unless you're
Guys
like
need
a
to do it more
Okay.
often.
certified Hollywood artist, you're not really like catfishing with makeup, are you?
Okay. So let me ask you this. There's one you meet a girl. She has all this makeup, makes her look like Halle Berry. She wipes all that makeup up. She looked like Denzel Washington. Would you consider that catfishing?
That's
Consider
such
that catfishing?
that's so Jurassic, man. You talking about you wiping the makeup away and there's a completely different motherfucker under there. That would
Yeah,
class
Because
but
as like
that's
hot
that.
lady
Like
to old
that's not a
because
That's what I just said. I said unless you're a Hollywood makeup artist, you're not.
that's
You're
that
not. There's no way
aggressive type
that's
of shit.
happening.
Wait,
That's that
hold on,
aggressive
no.
type, but hold up, wait. I'm about to give you the olive branch. That's that aggressive type of makeup and shit where I would say, like, yo, if you wipe away your makeup and shit, and there's just a completely different. If it's like the video y'all were talking about where she's
Yeah.
making herself look 21 years younger and shit, I would 100% say that's a catfish. You are not advertising,
Yeah.
you know, what to be. I'm talking like I think we're talking about the shit where it's like, yo, you wake up in the morning and you make yourself look straight. You don't want to look like you just rolled out of the fucking bed. Like you get you straighten your hair, you put the shine in your hair and shit like that. But like you right. If someone take off the makeup and it's not Halle Berry, it's like, you know, fucking Umar Johnson or some shit. I'm gonna be upset. I'm gonna be upset.
I think I would
That's
just
what
be
was
upset if it's
expecting.
Umar Johnson. Period. It doesn't matter makeup or otherwise.
I mean, like fair.
No, I
Yeah.
I guess something that worries me is that like there are just men who just suck, bro, and just
Real.
like
I
they,
can't say that S word on Twitch. I just forgot about that.
which well, I don't know, but like they just like they'll believe that like there are men out there who unironically believe that like any type of makeup is a dishonest representation of what like there's like a whole fucking movement on the internet, and like and even on top of that there's like a swaths of women who eat this shit up too, where it's like just be honest about how you dress and how you present yourself, and it's like damn, these people are really cool. But I guess like what concerns me is that like just I don't know, I feel like we gotta be careful with like how we talk about things sometimes, especially when we're talking about like women in makeup and stuff, because there are people who are just waiting for their opinion of like how women are all fucking whores and they all should all be natural and be natural to be validated by someone or something. I'm not saying that's happening here, but it's just a thought that I have.
I would rather prefer my woman to have no makeup, have all the stretch marks. She could be bald headed. I don't care. I would rather be her natural, not have to try to perpetrate like she's something different or she's feeling insecure by herself. That's me
It's
though.
like if you're with them every morning is just
But is
like
it
3 to
but
4
is it
hours of
insecurity
prep
though?
time.
A lot of people that do use makeup, they would say, well, they not comfortable with they presentation, so they use makeup in order to like try to build like give themselves a lot more confidence. And then when you have some people out there that validates that confidence, they will continuously do it to try to appease their own self, their own self confidence. So makeup does have a factor of making somebody a lot more different, like attitude wise. So yes.
Have
We're
you
not
ever
allowed to make
been with
ourselves feel
someone
comfortable.
who articulated that they're wearing makeup because they're uncomfortable with how they look?
No,
Like,
no women I've been with, they never really use a lot of makeup.
so where's this argument coming from?
It's
I-
mainly I see
From friends and news, I'm guessing.
From friends
yeah,
and
yeah,
family.
yeah, and a lot of social media posts. Yeah,
Sure, because like I mean, like the reason why I talk like about like the makeup sentiment is that there's a lot of people who want women to be natural for like some means of like validation for themselves, when in reality it's like women and like people do things for themselves. Like so it's like they're not necessarily, I don't think there's that many people out there who are overtly doing this to impress other people. They're just doing this so that they kind of feel comfortable with themselves. But there are people who just like interpret like makeup as like, see, they're lying to the world just to get partners. Fucking whores. And then like you get all the pick me's in the
I'm
back
not on that.
saying like,
I'm
was
not on
that?
that,
Yeah,
bro.
no, I know what you mean. That's like,
Bring up something horrible.
yeah.
So recently, an officer catfished a 14 or 15-year-old in California.
No, I know this story.
Yes, yes. And after catfishing this girl, came to California and murdered her family and burned the house down.
Yeah,
God,
men are
Good
violent.
I
segue,
read
bro.
about that one.
I would say is a prime element of catfishing that is the pernicious problem.
Right,
Was this
but
person like wearing makeup or like? I'm sorry, it's just an extreme example to jump to. Like, yes, in this
No,
example of
actually,
catfishing,
this
he went to her, house and he burnt her house. I've read the
no,
story. It's a very disturbing fucking story. That's why I'm saying it's a bit extreme because that's
Yeah,
usually
no,
not
that's
the end
actually-
result of catfishing.
that brings up a question
how's
I
that could be
had.
a catfisher?
That's actually brings up a question I was wanting to ask. Because so far what we've been saying on catfishing has just been they look different than what they actually are versus they act different than what they actually are. The catfishing of your personality, you pretend to be something, to be someone or something that you're not, in order to lull them into a sense of security. Would that make sense? Does that make sense? That's just straight deception.
Well,
There- don't we just-
that is definite. That is by definition grooming.
Yeah, I was just about
Like-
to say, isn't that literally just grooming?
Yeah, that's by
tricking someone
definition
and lying
grooming.
about yourself to
Yeah.
lure them under a sense of suspicion, and then you like clap the trap when you do some horrible shit like kill their
And
family, burn their house
I think
down.
that's what it sounded like. What that cop did.
Yeah, like he
well,
just
well, yeah,
groomed
well,
her.
like, yeah, but it's like the thing is that like, at least from like what I understand is that people kind of like don't really know the differences in how like catfishing is a form of grooming, and people like I'm sure in Prime's chat because they love to misrepresent what I'm saying. It's like we gotta like be honest about what's happening here. Is that an individual used their power to manipulate a little girl, and
He was a former
Manip-
cop. He didn't have
So,
power.
real
Okay,
fast,
Catfishing.
I see like what you're saying in terms of like catfishing is a form of grooming. I just don't know if that would be a good thing because most of the time when they're talking grooming, you're talking like to a child. Like I think we've been talking about in terms of, like when it comes to
right,
dating,
but
between
we
two
can
adults.
yeah, but we can recognize that like grooming is manipulated behaviors an abuser uses to gain access to a potential victim and coerce them to agree to that abuse.
So-
and like that's what happened here. I mean, like there's like catfishing in an online setting of like the idea of like fake profiles and stuff. But that's
Yeah.
what they did. Like he manipulated behaviors as an abuser to gain access to a victim, and then done that by means of misrepresenting themselves. And
So
parents
for-
don't know the signs when it's happening. And that's like the worst part.
So
I will
for,
agree with
'cause
Joe
I-
here. Like, catfishing does have an open window into grooming where it's like the person you meet up with, like this example, might do some heinous shit. You might get into some sex trafficking shit. Like, I've read stories about that where people go on, like, weird fucking Tinder dates and shit, and then they just end up getting snatched because, like, the person wasn't the picture. They find out the picture was someone else that they had been, like, getting photos of offline. So, like, there is
Insert
the
the
worry
int-
about that.
For this part of the conversation, you can just insert the entirety of To Catch a Predator series. There you go.
Yeah.
okay, so for because I've not heard the stories. How exactly did this former cop catfish her?
He misrepresented himself as a teenager, and
Yeah.
then used that to know more about who she was and stuff, and
Forgot where she was.
drove across country and set a house on fire.
And quit his job as an officer before he did so.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do
Yeah,
this
but
heinous
listen,
thing,
men
but I
are,
can't
like-
sully my record.
Make no
God.
mistake. Make no mistake. Men are violent. Men are fucking violent. And,
Really?
Right.
and their violence towards women is very particular. And I don't know. We should probably change how all these predominantly white men live. But no one wants to know. Oh,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Look, yeah, that's super bad that catfishing happened, but like, I mean, no one here would disagree on that's the point of this is to test this conversation is to test the edges of that, right? What are the boundaries? I think it's fair to
Hearing
say that.
story feels like we should bring Chris Hansen back.
Well, there's
So
catfish where-
it's
Let
it's
it
fair.
rest.
Hold on, guys. It's fair to say that like there's some things that people can do about themselves to enhance their looks that it should be considered fair play. But I'm trying to figure out where those points are. And if there is a woman, right? And I'm just I don't mean just to pick on women. I'm just this example at the top of my head.
No, I get it. This is a hetero safe space only.
I
Hetero
wanna
safe
talk-
space. Okay.
I wanna
I'll shut up here. This is not my space.
But if there's a woman who's bald for whatever reason, right, or has almost no hair, right, and in all her pictures she has like luscious locks, and a person decides to reach out to her and connect with her, and is would otherwise not do so because they're not into that particular look. Like how would that not be a level of catfishing? In fact, I have a spicier example of this, so I want to say that later. But like, at the very least, is that not deception, right? Now, if she had like one photo of herself, her natural state, right, and then others, like she's like playing around with wigs or whatever what she wants, right? Well, then hey,
Yeah.
she's clearly stated,
Well,
shown you like what it is, and you can decide from there, right?
But
But
is she doing it as a means to look for other people?
on a dating profile, yeah, we're talking about. Sorry, maybe I didn't make that clear.
Like that's that's hard to prove, because like if somebody has a condition that they might not like, they want to just I don't think people are. I think that's a really hard thing to prove, man.
So, look,
Like
I'll take a crack at it.
yeah.
Like, I think in that situation where it's like you said, nearly, a nearly or completely bald woman, she's got like luscious locks in her pictures, like multiple pictures, just so we're clear. Like, I think in that case, like, if the topic comes up and you compliment her, or, you talking about it, like, yo, you got some beautiful hair, like, you don't even have to tell me your condition, like, just
I know
tell
it's
me
a
it's
way.
not, yeah, like, tell me it's not real, so like, in the middle of sex, I'm not trying to pull your hair and like that shit come off, because then things is gonna
That's
get
the best
awkward.
part. That's why I know.
I
That's,
think
that's not it's not the best part for a woman, bro. If like you fucking her and then like her fucking wig come off, bro. Like, nah. I
I
want to
don't
make
know,
sure I
Pyro.
take the steps.
No, then you. No, then you.
I don't know, man.
I don't need to know your ailments. Just
I
let
think
me
it's
know.
I think it's up to the partner to
Good point.
decide if it's appropriate to disclose the information.
Yeah,
because like this is the very idea that like, because like let's be real, like let's be honest with it, like there are men who would assault women for that type of level of dishonesty and think that that's a bridge too far. So it's like I think it's up to the person if they feel comfortable enough to disclose that information.
What if a person has a genetic defect and they had it surgically fixed and did not tell you about it before you married them and wanted to have kids with them?
Wait, do you mean?
I'm
Now we're just
sorry,
trying to load the
Eric, wait,
hypothetical
no.
just to
We're
shit
talking
on
about
women.
hair.
Now we're trying to load the hypothetical just to shit on women.
You're loading a hypothetical to
I
you.
got a loss right there.
It's
actually
loading.
happened in my life. I'm
Yeah,
just
but it's
like,
loading the hypothetical to a point where it's like, if I got to a point where I'm about to marry this person and induct them into my lives, yeah, I'm gonna
We're
be kind of
talking
mad.
dating.
Like, if I'm gonna be marrying someone, I'm gonna be upset from the time that we're dating and that we meet up that you kept something this important for me. Of course, that's marriage. In the context of dating, nah, probably not. Like, I've dated people.
I have a friend who I have a friend who always has the philosophy of dating is just like a job interview. You literally
Guy sounds really cool.
it's a woman.
She sounds very cool.
Even better.
Yeah,
I mean, women are pick me, so go on. There are pick me's out there, so go on.
Here's
No,
my
no,
cover letter. I got my suit and tie on today. Like, I'd
No,
love to apply
that's-
for the
it's-
sexual intercourse.
No, that's the thing. And I completely understand what she's saying because the what
Men
you're
are shit,
basically
yeah.
doing, basically what you were doing is you show up, say, "Hey, I'm the best for you. Here's what I can do for you. Here's what you can do for me. Here's the thing. Here's how we would fit together." Basically, it's basically like saying, "Hey, there's no way that if you're gonna find anyone else, I'm the man for the job or I'm the woman for the job." Like you. At least that's the way she looks at dating as a job interview in that sense of like,
I mean,
I can be the best.
I
can
can't
be the best
imagine.
thing for you.
Yeah, I can't imagine what it feels like to. I'd probably be the same way too if I was a woman, recognizing that men are so shitty that you have to treat the very idea of going out with a man as an actual like potential interview for a job. Like, because at the end of the day, a lot of men are broke. So, and there's a lot of women who are providers in relationships. So maybe you should treat it like a job interview. I don't know. It's cool.
We're just talking like in terms of, we're talking just like in terms of like just wanting to look out for the personality. If what they look like is obviously always the first thing people think of, which is why we started off with like getting tricked based on someone wearing a wig or wearing heavy makeup to make themselves look better. So I feel like I feel like that idea of just treating dating at first like almost like a job interview in the sense of finding out everything you can about the person before you decide I want this one. It
Well,
ends up saving a
So,
lot of time.
has anybody heard about the new Liver King allegations? Or know about the
Who
Liver
the fuck
King?
is the Liver King?
Okay, this dude like is a fitness influencer that claims he has a fully natural physique and eats raw liver from animals that he catches in the wild.
Oh, I've heard that name before.
Giant bearded man who has ab work done on him, like he had the fat sucked out of his abs, the whole deal. And he's selling fitness products.
That's
So
cap.
he's a liar
That's-
making money.
Yeah, men are
I,
dishonest.
I would consider that
Recently-
catfishing.
Liar.
Recently, it came out that he spends about 15 grand a month on steroids.
Yeah, he's a grifter.
So like, not only is he a liar, he's someone that like pumps themselves full of steroids. Like he's lying to a bunch of people and he's scamming them out of money, to pay and go like hunt animals in the woods and eat their livers. But like, that's like a
Didn't that
lot of
kill you?
catfishing.
That's a massive level catfish right
Yeah.
there.
That's a
Yeah.
catfish.
No,
Like,
that's
He's not, he's
that's
not
just- that's just-
presenting himself as a way to fuck people though, like and try to like
He may be
he's doing things.
That's
Wasn't
that's the thing. Catfishing doesn't always have to mean you're trying to trick someone for sex. It can mean what Waterkai is talking about here. It can be someone grifting. Hey, I'm big buff man, and here's my 10-step program to make you just as big and buff as me. While they're
Then we
sitting there
can just-
taking steroids and
Because we can
Yeah,
just
life
call it
construction.
grifting then, right? Like
yeah, that's what I call. That's what I was saying. It's just basically grifting.
yeah,
but
like it's
I guess
grifting.
grifting
It's
is
lying.
yeah, grifting
Yeah.
is I guess like catfishing, if anything, is it's almost like a word tree with catfish at the base, and it has the branches grifter, grifter, groomers, and all this other stuff. It's just different branches of catfishing.
I would never put grifters in the same place as groomers.
Not the same place.
But
They branch off of the same general word.
I think they're on
Yeah, they're-
totally
they're-
different.
Well, no,
Like,
no.
they're
I get what Razor's saying. They're on
Yeah,
the
I get what you're
same.
saying.
They're on the same
Yeah.
branch, and that branch is like lying and being a piece of
Dishonesty.
dishonesty. But
Yeah,
then
That's the
there's
Venn diagram here.
there's that level where this motherfucker comes in where he's just like taking it to another level. Like he may not necessarily be telling the people he fucks, like, yo,
I didn't
this
say
is what
same branch. I said different. They're different branches, but
Oh,
it's
okay.
from the same base. It's the
Right,
same
there
base.
there's a level of there's like a settled idea of masculinity that says that you have every right to lie about how you got here. And it doesn't matter how you got here as long as you present in such a way that looks so ridiculous that people would believe it. And people believe that a grown ass man is was that
I go out and I kill my deer and then I eat only the liver.
and
only
this
the
is how I
liver.
look.
It's terrible.
Peru.
And it's like, all right, you must be really cool at parties. I like, who hurt you?
I'm not
my
letting
friend?
I'm not letting you around my pets. That's for damn sure, bro. Like that is for damn sure. They have
Yeah,
livers.
so I want
My animals
So-
are my livers.
yeah, so anyway, I wanted to limit this conversation to like the dating thing. That was like the point, right?
Okay, that's
Sure. So like back to a bonus, and this counts for men too, right? Men who are hiding their ball. Like if a guy was wearing a toupee and was actually convincing, right? And like a woman thought like, oh wow, he's so beautiful, he's got a full head of hair, and I just like not into the bald look. But then she finds out, she does her own wig pull, and like that this dude is bald. That seems like a level of deception happened. That seems like a catfishing situation. There's a reason why he was using that to pay, and because he feels that it's more unattractive. And it'd be one thing, again, if like you guy was honest, like yeah, like I've been thin up top. And I just wanted to make myself feel better. And I don't begrudge a person from wanting to do that. That's okay. But within the context of a dating profile for these major things, it seems like that might be a problem. Okay, so I wanted to like give a spicier example. I can hear someone typing, so please mute yourself. I want to give a spicier example. If this person is trans, right, and doesn't tell that they're trans, and they happen to be able to pass, but don't reveal. Is that a level of catfishing?
Okay, so hold on.
Absolutely not.
That's how a lot of trans people get their ass whooped. If they
hold
don't
on.
actually
Let me
tell.
go. Let me go ahead and give a
not-
small bit of history here. One of the first things I ever streamed was, and this will connect. One of the first things I streamed was I went over like the Keffel's manifesto thing, and I had a debate with a DGGer about this exact thing with is it considered something
Right.
consider a thank you.
So yeah.
I didn't want to say it. Is it considered that if a trans woman goes on a date with a guy, they start getting frisky, and the guy finds out that the trans woman still has their lower half? Is that considered sexual assault?
Oh, again, I'm not asking if
With
it's
catfish.
a sexual
Yeah, I
assault,
know,
just
no, I
cat.
know. That's
Okay,
Okay.
I'm
Here's
just
my,
saying
okay,
that's
my,
so.
okay.
I'm saying I've had
okay,
something
my,
similar.
okay, my thing is if you are a trans person and you don't know, then you should disclose that kind of thing, especially if you say you are feeling like this certain guy, and this certain guy may not like they may not like a chick with a dick. So it should be upon that person to tell them that, hey, so I got surgery for my upper body, but I still have this between my legs, but I do want to get to know you better. That should be the first thing that a lot of trans people, a lot of trans women should disclose, because not every guy is like that. So the fact that some trans people out here just think like, hey, I'm gonna just go ahead and jump in and not tell him what I am, and then we go to dinner. He takes me to his house. We start getting freaky, and he sees that I was born a man, and you people, they should not be surprised if my
Oh,
trans,
don't finish that sentence because I don't like where I was gonna go. So,
but okay,
hold on,
but
hold on.
that's my
So,
thing
what
though.
if,
They should
what
disclose
if they
that.
were what if they had bottom surgery and didn't have, like, as far as you can tell, this is a cis woman.
Parameters.
Well, then
They
I think
they,
it's
they,
fine.
they should still tell him.
Yeah,
I really
but
want the parameters.
what'd you say?
Like, is it a fling? Is it a long term? Like, are there parameters in this situation?
We could talk about either. Like,
Well, if
whichever
it's
situation.
a fling is if it's just a one night stand, then no, they don't have to. But if it's like going to be a real serious thing, like thinking about maybe marriage, then you should definitely do that. Just close that with someone that you trust and that you're like really want to like seal the deal with, because that's important. Because when people get married, sometimes they want to know if they're gonna have children and whatnot, and that might not be the case.
feel like
So
I feel like it would also be that way with the fling though. Like you would still need to disclose, because as Blaze said, you don't like a guy who likes his women and likes his vagina. He'll go with a trans woman and see that she has the girl dick, and he's like, we'll get mad.
well, that's what we said. If it's post op and it's a fling, then I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't.
if it's post op, fine, whatever.
Yeah.
But if it's pre
Uh,
op, then yeah.
Ira.
Jesus Christ. I think when it comes to like just the intention of fucking, like I need to know what equipment I'm working with. If I go into a warehouse job and I'm expecting to work a forklift, but they got me on a scissor lift, I'm gonna be looking at that shit like I'm a Stone Age caveman looking at a computer, like, and I'm gonna be confused, and that's gonna make a lot of fucking awkward situations. If in the second example you gave, you're talking about post-op and everything down there is what I expect and whatnot. Like I see absolutely nothing wrong with them withholding that information from me. My thing comes in like this is not something that trans people should have to blast like whenever they get into an interaction. But when it comes to sex and shit, like, yeah, we're gonna have to like I talk to about sex before I fuck people. I think that's normal. Like making sure that we both comfortable with what's gonna happen when we get into the bedroom and shit. Like that's fucking normal. And in that conversation, if there's any medical shit that's going on down there, you need to let a motherfucker know. Like I dated a guy who had colitis. He had to fucking let me know that shit. So like, you know, if there's a fucking accident, I don't be like, yo, what the actual fucking flip my shit. But at the end of the day, like it's not something that I think is required. And even then, even what I just said, like the reaction's not justified. Any of that shit's not justified. I think like though, like making sure people are okay and they know what's going on with their partners in bed is something that's important. So like before sex, yeah, maybe have that conversation.
Yeah, so that's why I say it comes down to intent in the first place. If you're trying to intentionally deceive people to elicit reactions that you would not have naturally, or you want to avoid reactions you don't want to experience, that is catfishing. And when it goes beyond that, it can get really ugly. But if you just aren't letting someone know right off the bat because you don't know where the situation's going to go, it's not catfishing. You're just presenting yourself as you are. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, like there are some dating apps out here that do give people the option of saying like what exactly they are, and you know it makes it easier for people to swipe swipe left, and in that bio if it says like I'm a trans woman, it'll be a lot more easier to make that decision. But it's also but the case for trying to actually meet people in real life and not use dating apps. Some trans people are not as comfortable as disclosing that because they feel like they're gonna lose out on something if they just disclose it. They just still disclose it. Like it's nothing wrong with you being this way. It's just like you know some people just don't are just not into it, and that you should give people like that freedom to make that choice. If you just making them if you just pushing it on them, you're not letting them make the choice for themselves. You just make the choice for them.
Joe, I don't think I heard your position.
There's a threat of violence that exists for trans individuals that I don't think any cis man would really be able to comprehend. So I'm kind of tapping on this portion, insofar as that it's if somebody wants to disclose particular information within a relationship, it's their right to disclose that. But I think there are people who want to do some level of like trans investigating around these things, and that just ain't it. Where it's like, if you're going to be in a relationship with someone and you believe it to be serious, these are probably things that are going to come up in the discussion and in the conversations about these things. But there are people who unironically think that trans women are just men in disguise and that they're cosplaying, and that if I do catch one of you cosplaying, I have the right to kill you. So it's like it's a really fine line that we're juggling around. That's like deeper than preferences. Like,
you tell someone you're cosplaying or don't tell someone you're cosplaying, and for what reason are you not telling someone you're cosplaying?
Stay in character.
So
Not kidding. Not kidding. There are people who will go deep, will dress as a very specific anime character, and they will never break their character.
okay,
Stay
that has nothing. Guys, let's stay focused. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Joe. Okay, so I hear you. I hear you. That I mean, you know, I hear you because you've been around this channel long enough. And we talk about the level of violence that our trans brothers and sisters face. But even within the context of people who, of a partner who would never dream of like hurting someone else, right? Who that's just simply off the table. But you know, for whatever reason, you know, they like cis women. That's a line that they draw. Would it not be catfishing for a person who's trans to say that to not say anything?
to say that it's catfishing, I think implies that trans women aren't actually women. And that's not a bridge that I'm willing to cross because I think trans women are in fact women. And
Amen.
it might be and like it seems to be that like not a lot of people are kind of down with that, but
But not, that's not what I said, right? That they are not. I didn't say that they are that they presented themselves as a woman. I'm saying they presented themselves as cis, right? So that's operative. That's like the important part here, that you are presenting yourself as cis, not a person who's trans. And again, and I think as you already know, I have no problem with that. I agree with you. Trans women are women. There's no disagreement with us there.
yeah.
In fact, I'm not even saying there's a disagreement with us anywhere. I'm just trying to explore the topic. But like if you believe that an aspect of a person, right? If they are cis, but they are actually trans, and they are keeping that from you, right? Lying by omission. Would that not be catfishing?
I hear
Yeah,
something which is
would.
kind of I hear something that's kind of interesting in that like I guess there is a settled habit of thought that everybody who presents in a particular way, and if I believe them to present in a particular way, then they are a member of that group. And it appears like for a lot of individuals, they are revealing that that's not necessarily the case. Where just because you present in a feminine manner does not mean that you're cis. Just because you present in a masculine manner does not mean that you are cis. So I just thought that was kind of, it was like an interesting thing that I kind of, I'm not saying that you were like trying to like elude any type of subtext. It was
Yeah,
just something that my brain kind of caught that I think is kind of interesting
for sure.
because there are people who definitely believe that if somebody presents themselves in a feminine manner and then I believe that feminine manner to be genuine, then they therefore are cis, or even then they're like therefore they are straight.
Well, that's
Mm.
not necessarily fair, but in the sense that they would have to look a certain way or present a certain way, but even though they identify as a cis woman, even though they don't have those characteristics or present those characteristics, they would still identify the same way. And so it's not necessarily fair that it still comes down to your perceptions.
Well, I mean, we have things that multiple things at play, right? We have like what you affirm yourself to be and what others assume you to be. And just because someone assumes you to be of something doesn't mean that you are of that. And it appears like for a lot of people, they really want to investigate if somebody is actually cis. When in reality, it's like cis is kind of treated as the norm. That because you are expressing yourself in a particular way, then you therefore are cis. And but again, like my concern is that there are people who function with that as being true in all situations. And if somebody is coming on to me and presenting themselves in a feminine manner, then therefore they must be cis. And that's not necessarily the case. And a lot of people treat that as a lie, like as like a misrepresentation. When in reality, it's like they're just expressing an attraction to somebody, you know?
So the question I would ask is, do you consider it a breach of trust?
Absolutely not.
That's all I need to know.
So you
As
brought up
somebody who I'm probably the only nigga who ever dated a trans person on this panel. I
No,
had
the
a
fuck
trans,
you
I had
ain't, bitch.
like maybe be a pyro maybe are leading the league
That's
in
why
this.
that's why that's my point. Like
I
for the simple point of knowing what machinery I'm operating, that like
Sure.
maybe, but like it's not something that I'm gonna feel ultimately betrayed about. It's not something on a level of catfish. And if the pictures I'm presented with look like the motherfucker and they're like, oh yeah, I'm trans, that's not catfishing to me.
All I'm saying
Like
is they
because
can
like let me like make this very very real here because I ran into the very situation that we're describing here and I vividly remember myself getting angry. And I talked about this on the panel before, maybe on the Reverie or on the open panel or something like that. I felt explicit rage, and what and me and the person me and my ex we're at peace with each other. We're in a good relationship. Our relationship fell apart in different ways. But one of the things that she told me was that I was afraid to tell you because I didn't feel like you would like me or care about me anymore if I told you that. I didn't want to ruin that. I didn't want to ruin that bond that we had. And then we're just sitting in an AMC for hours, like me interrogating my anger and also interrogating why she felt like she couldn't disclose that to me, despite us being in a fairly serious relationship. And it was a situation where her like what's going on in terms of genitals didn't come up in conversation at all. It was never something that I interrogated as a thing. So that's kind of where I'm coming from at this, where it's like, because I am one of those black men who probably, given another situation and another level, if I didn't have like the type of social circle that I had, like there could have been an act of violence involved. I don't know that, but I vividly remember how angry I got. And the level of anger that I got in that situation still makes me sick to this day. So like that's kind of like where I'm at in terms of that. I understand that people don't like revealing personal shit on panels because these political streamers are all snakes and use this as a weapon in different conversations. But I think it's very serious. I think it's very important for me to kind of like level to where I'm at on this.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. You go first.
I was gonna say, like, I think in the aspect that Joe's talking about, like, it might just be beneficial because, like he said, like, there was that anger and shit he felt. And then, like, let's be real, there are motherfuckers out there, and it's a very big epidemic within the black community where our black trans sisters are murdered at a disproportionate rate. And the defense used by a lot of people is like, yo, I found out they were trans, and that's yada, 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 yada. So I think there might be something that's like, the niggas are dangerous. Motherfuckers out here are dangerous. Trans people are just killed out here like all the fucking time. Like, let people, like, people made the argument to me in chats and stuff where it's like, make the argument known so like those weird motherfuckers, you know, it's just a hard turn right, because they are going to react a certain way if you have it in your bio or something, or if you tell them, they're just going to react a certain way. They might not even swipe right to you. When it comes to the trust thing of catfishing, again, like, nah, it's based on looks for me. Like, if I find out that they're trans later on, if they look like what they're presenting, I'm pretty much good. Like, I'm good.
So it yeah, I think it's the case. And yeah, I've heard trans women discuss the situation. And they're like, look, don't fuck around, like disclose. Right? I've heard trans women talk about how, like, when they're approached at a bar, right? Like in a very public area, like one of the first things they say, like, hey, I'm trans, right? Like, I mean, if they're gonna bother to, like, you know, be interested in this person, right? Like, not to like literally everyone who like approaches them and talks to them, obviously, right? But like, if they feel like this is going anywhere, like, hey, just so you know, I'm trans, and I feel like, just forgetting catfishing, just as a matter of safety, that's like the best thing to do. Is to let these people know, so they don't get invested, and especially if you do this in public place, so maybe they fuck off rather than having some sort of unfortunate explosion, right? And it would seem within the context of a dating profile, it would make sense that, like, that would be a great way of screening out those who might.
I guess it's just a disappointing position that we are in society, where like cis folks never have to acknowledge that they're cis ever. It's just kind of like the normal state. But for a particular group of individuals, they have to clarify that for just as a means of interacting socially. I think it's kind of like a disappointing place to be at personally.
But that's like how, like, numbers and statistics work, right? Since the vast majority of individuals are cis, it is nothing but logical to assume that everyone else is cis, the people around you. Like, it is illogical to assume otherwise, right? It's
Right,
just
but I guess like like the concern I have for in terms of disclosure is that there are people who will use that disclosure as a means to like continue like to totally sort of shift the conversation and attack that individual. Like we see this on Twitter. Like I mean, Twitter is not a full representative of reality, but there are people who
mean,
are like quick. Like
we
I-
don't
they
even
know
have
that
to
you're
use Twitter. We don't even have
Yeah.
to use Twitter. We just look at the crime statistics. A lot of these issues come down to the fact that like the partner found out that the person they were meeting up with was trans, and they went violent and they ended up killing some. Like that is a reality, and like that's where I could. It's sad that we live in the reality where that's the defense. I understand where you're coming from, Prime. Like people want to know shit. Like the vast majority of people are male or female and shit. But like where Joe's coming from, like I understand that too. Like the fact that we live in that society is kind of shit.
No, it doesn't. But sorry, what you said doesn't fit with at least the point that you seem like you're trying to make. Like, in the situation where a partner finds out later on that the person was trans and then flips out on them, well, the most likely way to avoid such a situation is to disclose, right? Like that is how you solve.
I don't
is-
disagree. I don't
Okay.
disagree with anything you just said. My previous argument state what I'm saying and what I think Joe is saying is like, damn, it sucks. That's the fucking case.
Yeah,
Damn,
it is.
Sucks that
I-
for like that's the point. Damn, it
Okay,
sucks for their
we-
safety that like
we
it's best they
agree.
disclose. It fucking-
Can I speak?
Sure,
And-
hold
And
on.
then, Brian,
Sorry,
I understand like why I understand like why you're asking the questions that you are. Like I want to make it clear. I'm not trying to like because there are people who are just like disingenuous in these
Yeah,
conversations.
no,
I don't
no,
think
fair
you're
enough.
being
and I don't think you think I'm disingenuous either. It's just that.
that's why
yeah,
I'm trying
yeah.
to be very careful.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I'm not
no,
trying
I
to-
understand. And
Yeah.
look, I want to be careful too. I don't want to invite somehow violence to trans people. I don't want to in any way imply that even if a person doesn't disclose, right, you find out later on that violence is warranted. It is not. Go to jail where you belong, right? Like I don't fuck around with that. So I want to make that very clear. Maybe that wasn't clear before to anyone else in the audience, not to Joe, but to anyone else before. It's just violence should be off the table.
And
Or
something that I think
harassment
is-
either. But it seems like you know what, you go first. Well, actually, let's go. Waterkai go first, and then we'll go back to anyone else.
I was just trying to state something simple. Like if I'm hooking up with someone or whatever, I'm even gonna tell them if I have a cold or I'm catching the flu. Just being real. Like even if it's in a casual situation, not to be an asshole, I'll be like, hey, I'm not feeling well. So
Yeah.
if you still want to go through with this, cool. Otherwise, we can chill for another night. Let me get your number or whatever. To disclose things is just not to breach someone's trust. You can give someone the information that makes their life a little bit easier and makes your life a little bit easier. Disclose information that is pertinent to people's lives.
Okay,
Joe?
but that same argument can be made to not disclose for the means of preserving life too, though. Like
If you are going, like, before you even get into that situation, you can disclose. Like, as soon as they talk to you, like, let them know right off the bat.
and
If
they
you
could
want-
spit in your face, they could punch you, they could do a lot of like I
And
don't
off
I
to jail that asshole goes.
like
So,
make no
I-
mistake, like there is violence at play and it's
I
not
think-
zero.
But I don't remember. I think
Like-
I think we're mixing things up though, right? Like
Sure.
again,
There might be a
like,
higher level of violence
with-
once you get into a situation sexually.
within a person's normal life, I don't think it should be required for them to disclose that they're trans, right? Like them just existing in the world, absolutely. Like it's none of your business what's between their legs, right? Like people are fucking fascinated about it. We know that if you've been on this channel long enough, if you're on Twitch politics long enough, people are fascinated about it. But it's none of their fucking business as to what's between legs or what isn't there, whatever, right? Like that's something separate. And then so because you brought up Twitter too, right? Like, well, yeah, you reveal these things on Twitter, and then like shit gets weird, right? The things people say, it's disgusting. But I'm not talking about any of that. Like within Twitter, who like it's no one's business. But within the context of dating, though, right? It would seem like it would be someone's business at the very least. In that context, that's a very specific context, right?
And I think
or,
that
or just one night stands. You know, if you one night stands, you know, this trans woman probably sees someone they like, they just go ahead and disclose it because, like I said before, they may not like you know a certain individual who still has these equipment attached to him. So to not cause any form of violence, because again, I'm not for this either. People don't react the same way. So to just assume like some of these people may not attack them is also a bad thought in their head. So dis- disclose, let them know what you packing, and then you know just see what goes from there. Because you know that person may not swing that way, but they may not also be violent.
yeah, but people like again, like we just I don't think that the trans folks are these like magical uniforms, magical unicorns that don't disclose these type of things. I think it's just a level of trust, and I think in most situations, um, there's just a level of trust that needs to be there before information like that can be disclosed. Like, could that possibly you could probably make an argument of like, well, that might just like prevent your options in like the like like
But there
back
is a
down ass up. But
but
what's up?
there is a percentage of people who are trans that say, "Hey, I'm like this. You should just deal with it. And if you don't like me for what I am, uh, call you transphobe and and all that stuff. And that person
Yeah, there's trans folks
may not
on
be trans.
Twitter.
They just go, I'm not,
Yeah,
no,
there's visible trans folks on Twitter, and they say that they're trans, and you got to deal with it because they understand that there's people who like challenge their existence, and it's like,
it's not
yeah,
that's not the point I was making though. The point I was making is that this person this person probably most likely doesn't hate trans people, but the fact that they say that they won't sleep with a trans person or they won't date a trans person, they automatically called, hey, you're transphobe because you don't want to date a trans person or a trans woman.
well,
So
we can recognize a lot of the.
no, like
Go
I said,
for it.
I recognize I recognize the
Nuance.
difficulties. Problem is, a lot of people. Yeah, the thing is, a lot of people just don't are just not into that. So and people should not be railroaded, especially when they don't have a problem with a person being trans. They just would not. They just don't want to date a trans person or have sex with a
Yeah,
trans person.
and I think that men gotta kind of treat the situation the same way they treat a show they're kind of tentative about, where it's like, are you afraid? Are you? Is this an actual preference that you have, or is this just something?
Why does it gotta be fair though? Why can't it just be like it's not what they into?
I have a lot of reason to
Oh,
believe that men just have the idea that they just like women in society just reinforces that, and then any
yeah.
type of challenge to that binary terrifies them. The
Joe,
very
can I
idea that a man could love another man would
Here's the thing.
terrifies them.
Joe,
Okay,
can I
here's the thing.
reinforce that? The
But
fact
you
that
automatically went to fear, and it's
Yeah,
not
because men are afraid of men are afraid of
they're not
men.
able to.
the
Men are
fact that
afraid of
you're
having
willing,
open relationships with other men.
the fact that you were willing to get with them is an indicator of that. The fact that they told you is an indicator of you.
And what way you mean? Like, what are you talking about?
I'm
I'm saying
that
that men are so insecure with their own masculinity and their own idea of what a man is that the very idea of being in a relationship with another man terrifies them. That's how deep I
That's
think that insecurity is.
that's not always the case. It's not. It's
But
not.
we're
That's
I
not
think it's
always the
100%
case.
the case in a lot of situations.
I mean,
What I'm
it
hearing-
certainly could be the case.
What I'm
There
hearing,
Because
what,
again, men are fed at like
Well,
almost. We'll go for it. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, like, I think the thing that Joe's saying is correct. Like, I don't think it's just like a fear. I think it's just could just be disgust also. Like just the idea of
Yeah.
being with another, what they could perceive as man or what bucks the system, just disgusts them on a visceral level that they haven't explored yet. So it could be fear, it could be the anxiety of not, but like there's a level of disgust that we see in the actions and the language of these people when they actually find out and they speak out. Like that can't be denied.
Yeah, that could happen.
The way I was hearing Joe Joe, for a second there. I was thinking too, like not just like relationships in terms of dating, but relationships in general. Like for me personally, I have like almost no male friends because I can't stand being around other. I can't stand being around
Well,
other
men don't
men.
have a good track record of being there for other men.
Yeah,
And we also have a track record of betraying women if it means that we are comfortable. Like I know all of you have a story of a time where you probably saw a woman, whether it be sexually assaulted or harassed in public, and you probably didn't do anything about it. Every man has that story, and I'm in a lot of circles to refute that claim. Like,
I got some stories where a woman did a man that I know dirty as hell.
and what did you do about it?
I couldn't do shit.
Why?
Because I was nowhere near the parameters, and not into the fact that person that tried to person basically railroad this guy on social media and all that stuff, and I couldn't do anything about it. Like the damage was already done. They automatically believe the woman because it's if you don't believe the woman, then you're obviously a woman hater.
So then let's be honest here. In your life, have you seen a woman be harmed, and whether it be sexually harassed, we'll go like to that end, or even something that's just being crossed in a social interaction that was unfair? Did you say or do anything? Do you have a situation where you didn't do anything?
Maybe
I
he
was
has.
no,
I have.
I was nowhere near that situation.
So you've observed it.
What? No, I never had to see or interact that kind of situation.
You've never had a situation in your life where you saw a woman get crossed in some type of way. Your entire life, you've never seen that happen.
No.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah. So you like you're painting this picture that it's just.
I mean, we can be
it's just-
dishonest on
that-
the internet.
that-
That's
that-
fine. But
What's his
Like
threshold?
again,
We can be dishonest on the internet, but-
again, you paint the picture that it's all
being
about fear
dishonest.
or being dishonest here, but I'm literally telling the whole truth here, and he just automatically assumed that I'm lying.
Well, because you're probably socialized in the same way that I was, where you don't even see these situations as happening and see these situations as normal occurrences. We all have one. We all have one.
I have one.
Especially,
No,
especially
no.
Twitch streamers. Especially Twitch streamers. Not
Oh.
a single Twitch streamer can say with confidence that they've been in a situation where a woman has been disrespected on a panel, harassed on a panel, and ridiculed on a panel, and they spoke up. No Twitch streamer has the gall to even assert that claim.
Welcome to the
Hi.
end where nobody's
I have
safe.
the gall because I always try and I haven't been on many panels yet, but I know for a fact that I'm always gonna be the one to try it. I won't be successful, but if I'm gonna be on a panel, I'm gonna try my damnedest to protect someone who's just getting berated.
Yeah,
I'm going to
no,
take their
right,
side. I'm going to do what I can.
But the point that I'm trying to make is that we've all seen these situations happen around us, and we've all been in situations of paralysis because, like, one of the settled habits of thought and action in society is a level of comfort, where it's like we have the right to comfort, and if something is uncomfortable to us, we have the right to either just be silent about it or push ourselves away from the situation because that makes us uncomfortable.
That's my secret. I'm always uncomfortable, so I'm
No,
able to. Be
So anyway,
choices.
well, like I said before, I have one. Well, in terms of the panel thing, I'm positive for that. I mean, we've had a lot of women and a lot of spicy conversations, and yeah. But in fact, actually, I can think of one there. But when I was thinking of it, I was thinking of an IRL situation, and I've talked about before here on the channel. Driving around with my cousin, and around my neighborhood, and he sees this girl. He's like, oh, and we're not going particularly fast, and he's like, hey man, like swing around and pull up next to her. I'm like, oh, this is a girl that he knows, right? He's saying hi. So he pulls down the window and he makes a comment about her butt, I think, or something, right? And then like we drive off, and he's like laughing his ass off. And at that moment, I didn't know what to say. I had no idea what was gonna happen. I was shocked that it happened, right? What? Why did this happen? Anyway, I honestly don't remember if I confronted him afterwards. But like, and if I didn't, then I should have. Put that out there. If I didn't,
Yeah,
then I
like-
absolutely should have. But yeah, it was just something I just didn't expect, and it happened, and I should have handled it better by like telling my cousin not to be a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah, I had a situation in a dorm where there was I was a junior at the time, maybe third or fourth year, and there was just a girl, she was very drunk. And she was just not all there. She was absolutely not all there. And this one guy got tired of the shenanigans and he was threatening that I'm just gonna knock her out. I'm just gonna knock her out. And I didn't say anything when he said that to me in the living room. And then it was only until other people in the other room caught that to come out and be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Because he wasn't like, he was serious about it. And this is my dorm room. So it's like in my very place that I consider like my sanctuary. Like I had a man threaten violence to a woman when she clearly needed help and I didn't do anything. And this was something that thankfully, because I'm in the right circles, my roommate at the time, like shout out to him, grilled me about it the next day. He just like, we were sitting at dinner and he's like, or breakfast in the morning, he's like, just so you know, homie, you fucked up. And like, I'm gonna tell you why you fucked up. And we had to talk about it. And like, that's the kind of, and like, the thing is that I think men need to have circles like that, where like we hold each other to account so that we can be better in situations towards women and, or even just towards our partner, not just the women, to whoever we like find ourselves to be in terms of intimate relationships. Because like some of the habits and settled ideas of how we interact with partners, whether it be intimate or otherwise, is just fucked. It's really fucked. I think it starts with men.
I was a bully for those exact reasons. When I was growing up, I wasn't a bully, but when I got into high school and the hormones were kicking in my classmates, and I was friends with a lot of the women or a lot of the girls that I went to school with. And when I saw them being pressured by dudes and I see their expressions, I would roll up on these dudes, put my arm around their neck, like, like, hey, buddy, how's it going? You need to chill out. I'm going to need you to step back. And this was a regular occurrence. And this is just something where I needed to teach these younger dudes, like, hey, just talk to women like they're people. You don't need to push up like that. You don't need to be 3 versus 1. You're intimidating this person. And so I'm going to step in here. And this even went into my own life with my own mother, because she got pushed up on, and I would push up on grown men, knowing full well I would get kicked in half. But those men realized they were fucking up when they had to push up on a 10-year-old to try to assert their dominance.
Thanks for that.
Yeah. And
Um,
again, like there are people who don't have these things, right? Like there are people, like some of them go to Duke, where they just have they just think that like these are the things that I'm entitled to. These are the things that like I'm entitled to have. And if you raise your kids to be entitled pieces of shit, then you end up with these results. And it's unfortunate because like you don't know when you don't know when your parents are failures until it's too late. Like and you're put in these situations and you're like, damn, like I was never taught to hold other men accountable because my father never taught me how to hold other men accountable. My parents never taught me to hold other men accountable. And the men in my life never articulated that and what that looked like. Because there are like make no mistake about that Jerry Jones shit. Jerry Jones is entitled. There was never a point in his life where he had to interrogate what accountability looked like, and he just cruised on over. Go with the protest.
Ways, though, not just one way.
What was that?
Like accountability goes both ways, not just one.
Yeah, his parents are failures.
Okay. You mentioned your father and me about how he taught you about being held accountable, right? My mom's, because I was raised by 2 women, told me.
Yeah, I was raised by women as well.
to be careful
Same.
out here and watch out for some of these women, because some of these women be slimy and grimy. That's what I was taught. And
I
then
was raised that if women
Well, let Blaze finish.
when I was looking at a lot of some of these news articles where some women have gotten scot free for a murder because they either got rejected or by some firm or something like that, or they accused the man for sexual assault, even though he was nowhere near the girl's panties. That woman did not get any amount of time of jail, or the max she got was 2, while the man was facing 15.
I'm with you. My mother also.
What's the accountability for that? Well,
My mother also taught me
15 years. What the woman only faced like probably 3 to 6 months in jail.
Yeah, I mean, we
Oh,
can talk to
goodness.
OJ about accountability. I'm sure he has very good opinions about that.
What are you talking about?
I mean,
Okay.
we can talk about all the other men who get away with sexually assaulting and or raping women and get away with it. I mean, we can bring that into the conversation. And there's a lot of evidence to support the claim that happens more than the latter. And there's plenty of men who get away with these things.
Man,
Like-
okay. Name me the max amount of time that a woman faced for falsely accusing a man for doing something heinous, and then imagine, give me a percentage of a man falsely accusing a woman of the same crime.
Name me all the men who settled outside of court so they don't need to go to trial for the sexual assault or rape that they do with women.
You avoid the question.
Wait,
You completely
No.
avoid the question.
My evidence
gotta
is bigger
come
than
from
yours.
No, you avoid the question.
My evidence is
can we
bigger than
not-
yours, friend.
Can we not play
no,
this
you
game,
avoid the
bro,
question.
where we dodge
Yeah.
the conversation
No, it's cool.
entirely?
Let me like we can pull it back to the familiar thing, because listen, like I was raised by women too, and the women in my family said shut the fuck up, and a woman's job is to be subservient, and a woman's job is to shut up. And like my mother did a lot of things, like women were not allowed to be in the same room as me because there was a very high proclivity that I wouldn't be able to control myself around them. My mother also taught me. My mother also.
okay,
I
no,
let
hold
you
on.
talk.
Whoa, hey, we got
I'll
hey,
let
we
you
gotta
talk.
let Joe respond, and then you can go back and forth, all right?
Yeah, my mother also taught me that if women are dressed a certain way and they make a pass on you, that then they are openly accepting to be in a sexual or intimate encounter. My mother also taught me that it is okay to hit women, and that's something she explicitly taught me that it is okay to do. I love my mother, but she was sexist and racist.
No, stop. Because right now you just contradicted yourself very much. Your own mother said that you can't be in the same room with some other girls that are your family members because you would not control yourself.
Other
What?
women, no, other women who weren't my family. So
okay.
if I brought a woman over, if I brought a woman over,
your
let's make it
mother
very
had-
clear
your
what we're
mother
talking about
had
here.
had no faith in you. That's what
My mother
she's
had
getting
no
at.
faith in women or men.
But she said
she taught that.
She was mainly.
She taught me that.
You just said that she was mainly
I'm
pointing
glad
to
you at
you
least
though.
changed that.
Like I don't think you're quite catching what I'm trying to throw here. Is that
I
there
don't
is
know
an
why you're
entire
arguing with your therapist, Joe. Like I don't know what's
Yeah.
going on here.
No,
man.
I think I caught it. I think I've caught what you were saying. Basically, there is a generation out there that we're taught by people who have those viewpoints. So it's constant. It's still in a constant loop or chain
and reinforce
of
these
sending.
things.
Yes, reinforcing.
And women are no different in reinforcing this than men.
Yeah,
got that
it
without the
it's a
story,
systemic
though.
thing.
Yeah, we had
No,
to go
it's-
through that whole story though. You're right.
Thank you
It
so
was
much,
more
Razor.
entertaining.
Yeah.
I'm good at sussing out like the general point of
Yeah.
shit whenever it's really long winded like that.
Because again, parents are like some parents are failures and they fail their kids. This is where I'm at. Like,
No, because for me, I was raised by my grandmother, and the way I was taught when it came to women was that they're on the same level as me, and if I hurt them, I'm gonna get hurt.
yeah.
So I've always had that. I was raised with being able to hold myself and anyone around me accountable, and if I see a female friend of mine hurting or about to do something bad, either way I'm going to do what I can to help them stop or help them move forward with something better. That's
I
the way
think
I was taught.
I think from listening to like you guys talk a little bit, like I've listened to Blaze like rebut Joe a little bit. I listened to Joe like tell his family fables. I've listened to Razor explain Joe's family fables. I think like we've all been taught different ways to engage or interact with women or what to look out for, like just some of the traits to look out for in the world. And like the one thing I'm not hearing is like, yo, how do we do that with men? And like that's to Joe's earlier point. Like personally speaking, I've gotten all of it. I've gotten like, yo, look out for white women because of Emmett Till. Like, be careful who you date. You don't want to end up like broke and supporting no one's children. Like, yeah, all of it. I've gotten all fucking sides of like, how to interact with women. But when it comes to interacting with the men in my life and what to look out for, especially when it's talking about like, yo, go after your sister or something, it's literally just as simple as you go and you beat them up because they're going after your sister. It's never like, yo, what are the signs to look for when it comes to this deep implicit type of abuse and shit that we talk about? Like, because sometimes it's not just like I'm raising my fist at you. Sometimes it's like that deep emotional abuse. I don't get really taught how to like, look out for that shit. That shit I had to learn out from motherfuckers on the internet. And like that's the thing that happens with a lot of men in particular. Like there's no real alleyway or no conversation on how to address like, yo, you watching a motherfucker talk a certain way or like plot some really devious shit where they cheating on your girl and you just gonna let that, not cheating on your girl but cheating on their girl, and you just gonna let that happen, or you letting some shit that you would never let happen to a family member happen because like it's some random woman. Like that, there's no avenue for that. At least I
Yeah.
haven't experienced one. I'll put it like that.
That's Shinquilla shit.
Yeah, we need to have some better role models for the new generation coming up. And I think this kind of relates to our last conversation because, if all we get in like the current rap iterations of today is, like fuck bitches, get money, like what are we expecting young men to take from that message? And so I think we need to show them that there's more out there for them, that there's a better way of handling things, and show them that they can do things that are good for the community without hurting people or scheming on women.
I think it's on us, and black men are in a very precarious situation where the deck is stacked on us in very unique ways. And
By
if
the
we're
way, your
able,
camera's gone aisle.
I'm sorry.
Your
He's in
camera
the
just
higher.
down.
He's in the higher realm. Let him be. He's a
I'm,
light.
look, I'm looking for Dead Prez fans.
Who?
Dead
Ooh.
Prez.
You mean George Washington?
No, the hip hop
Oh,
group. Dead
Abraham
Prez.
Lincoln.
Yeah.
No, the group of rappers back
Dead
in the
presidents?
day, clearly.
Yeah.
Yes, the
Yeah,
rapper Dead Prez.
Never heard of him.
What day you
Listen,
talking about?
You
It was-
Slut?
should have heard of them, and that's their problem. You didn't hear of them, and now what are you doing? Listen to that gangster rap and that hippity hoppity music. You
Like,
needed
you
to
talking
listen
about
to
shit? You talking about shit from back in the day? Like I was born before 1999. Shut up.
Not even the case. They made an entire song about
1996 for me. So
credit card fraud, robbing pizza boys, and other scams that you can do to get by the system. That's what they rapped about. They weren't rapping about killing other black people. They were rapping about robbing fools.
yeah. So
Rap.
let's wrap it up then. All for being here. We are going to continue on to walk on panel. So the content doesn't end. So stick around, everyone. We still have more content for you as we always do. But first of all, hit that follow button in case you haven't done so yet. Hit that follow button. Make sure notifications are on so you know I'm going live. Experts for social and chat for our social media. We got our Twitter. And we got Discord. We'll have open walk on panel coming up next. TikTok and then YouTube's where you find the VODs. In case you missed anything, like, comment, and subscribe. Helps out a ton. But yeah, we are just going to give an outro to all these lovely individuals, but then from there we will we'll go back. So we'll go on to our walk on panel. So stick around for that. I don't see you, but thanks for being around.
Oh,
Much
can you
appreciate
not
it.
see me?
Are
Yeah,
you
like,
paying
your
attention?
camera's
I don't
not-
understand. How do you not know that you're not on screen? Like twice you don't know you're on screen? You're not paying attention at all to what's
It just
happening?
appeared like I think 30
Paying
minutes ago.
attention, It's just I'm seeing it, but it's not. It's not
You've
working for you?
you've been seeing us
disappeared, like,
frozen this
30
entire
minutes ago.
time. And you haven't. Okay. Anyway, Razor, thanks for being here. As well. Thanks for jumping on, being part of it. Tell a little about yourself.
Oh, uh, yeah, I'm Razor of Razor Sharp Gaming 96 here on Twitch. I'm super close to affiliate. I'm just needing more people to watch me. That's about it.
How many?
I know I'm already like where I can get to affiliate. It's the fact that I need average viewers. I need like at least 3 average viewers. I only ever get like 2 people. It's sad, unfortunately.
Just keep
I
grinding, man. Keep grinding.
yeah,
All
I
you gotta
do.
all you gotta do to reach affiliate, bro, is like stream for at least an hour and like end stream when you get 3 viewers, and then just like that's how I reached affiliate.
I'm not cheating my way there because what I like. So basically, what I like to do is I do gaming streams. You know, I'll pick whatever game I feel like playing at the time. I'll just play through it, talk about just talk to about stuff to my either to myself to the ether about the game. Other times, if I feel like it, I'm gonna pull up a video and react to it because I want to like laugh at people.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Check out Razor. Put your link in the Twitch chat so people can find you. Okay. Next we have Water Kai. Water, thanks for coming on and adding your unique take to these things. Water Kai, tell the world about yourself.
Unique. Fair enough. Yeah, for sure. I appreciate being on Prime's panels in general for having the exposure. I recently hit 51 followers, and I appreciate the platform itself just for allowing that to happen. These are all great people I get to converse with, but going back to each of these situations, I think with Black people, well, with rappers dying over culture issues, it's terrible in general. There's nothing you can do about it. If that's what's going to be promoted, that's what's going to be promoted. Until we embrace something different, we're not going to see a change. And I want to see that happen. We're just not there. And for catfishing, it comes down to malicious intent and horrible situations like I talked about before. I don't want to see people being murdered or hurt for catfishing situations or for non-disclosure or for disclosure in general. We need to reach a consensus of understanding and truth in relationships. And at Lethic Watercott, come chat anytime.
Okay. Thanks so much. Let's go to because I'm working my way up in reverse order. Blaze. Blaze, thanks also for giving your perspective on this.
Yeah. Thanks for inviting me, Prime. And Blaze right here. I talk about politics, gaming, culture war when it comes to like Hollywood movies and all that stuff. But also, on my channel, I also talk about some real serious topics when it comes to like mentality issues and all that stuff. I talk about all that. So if anybody who's not biased, come check me out. My channel Blaze right on YouTube because I don't really use Twitch.
Okay. Thank you so much. Next, Pyro, who is a mod here. I'm always happy to have you around. So I'm glad that that we could see you. You know, we miss you. Thanks for being around.
Thank you for having me, Prime. I like being here. I like how spicy these panels can get. Like, this was a good one. Like, the topics got ignored just the way I like it, and we went off and it just straight up riffing, rambling territory. That's a conversation. But to end it off, I just say like when it comes to the first issue of rap music, we got to look like it's not the rap music. The rap music is just a reflection of what we see in the societies and what we have been seeing since like the early, not the early, but like the late 80s and 90s and shit. Like these communities have been experiencing these problems longer than this industry has been at the forefront. And I think there's systemic changes that need to be made that need to come from our government. We can't look again, like we can't look at rap music artists to like fix the intrinsic problems of our community. That's the job of our government. when it comes to catfishing, simply put, like if you not the same person or you don't like resemble the same person in your photos, trans or not, like that's when I deem it as catfishing. Like Blaze said earlier, if you take off your makeup and you look like Beyonce with the makeup on, and then there's like Idris Elba or someone underneath, like I'm gonna be upset because the pictures you advertised were Beyonce. Like that's plain and simple. That's plain and simple. If you advertise Idris Elba, give me Idris Elba. If you advertise Beyonce, give me Beyonce. I just want what's advertised, and I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I'm not even gonna say shit on the various other topics. Like y'all know where to follow me. Y'all Primes chat. Y'all are cool. Yeah, I'm gonna drop my link in chat. You can follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/the Pyro Tyrant. Like I'm cool. I'm chill. Like that's my role here on these panels because these niggas get heated sometimes. They need the voice of reason.
Okay. Thanks so much, friend. And yeah, I'm excited to have more of you in the future. I actually really am. So shout out to you, man. And last but definitely not least, we have my friend Joe. We call him MVP. It doesn't matter whether I agree with him or disagree with him. I'll never take that away from him. That he adds a lot of dimension to these conversations. And I'm glad he likes to spend some of his time with us. So thank you, Joe. Right, like you, as you tend to do, you elevate this conversation. Doesn't matter again what side of it you happen to be on. So thanks.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. And again, there's no ill will in my heart towards y'all. I try to treat this space with a little bit more honesty in how I talk, because I've been on this for a while and I understand that, like these conversations can be kind of complicated. So try my best to like give some types of perspectives that might not be. I think what's built here is good, where like we can have like a deeper conversation about something, and we're not going to rip each other's heads off and call each other retarded. So I kind of value that. I kind of value that energy. Now the open panel is a whole different story.
Yeah.
I really like, so I stream, right? But I'm spending a lot more time in Discords. Shout out to Stardust's community and RYYZN's community. I've been frequenting their Discords a lot. So like if you want to like find me in some capacity, I'm a very like frequent shitter in Stardust's argument channel and RYYZN's debate perverts. So if you ever want to talk to me there and like just kind of kick the shit, that's usually where I'm at. And I do stream, but things are kind of moving in a different way, grooving in a different way. So I'm live when I can, but either way, I'm glad to be here.
All right. Thanks all again to every single one of you. Much appreciated. All right. We are going to move on to our open walk-on panel, right? Where heads be ripped off, as Joe alluded to. Yeah. So anyone here is free to join us, but if not, that's okay. Thanks for spending your time, your energy, your knowledge, and your passion with my community. I know they appreciate just I do. Have a good one. Bye.
All right. I'll see you guys soon.